We are the Global Academy, your training hub for entrepreneurship and business leadership. Headquartered in New Zealand, we have satellite offices in Melbourne, New York, Dubai, and Manila. The Global Academy New Zealand offers strategic master classes with our 4M proven framework that transforms mindset, develops mastery, strengthens management, and mentorship programs to sustain your organization competitive advantage. We are the Global Academy New Zealand, building leaders, leading builders. See you in class.
Okay, good morning once again. This is Coach John of Champ Yunka, together with Coach Gary Smith, all the way from the US. So good morning, everyone, to all our classmates and students from the United States of America. And of course, good morning. And in the North America, good afternoon, of course, in the Middle East, and good evening here in Asia. So, what are we going to expect from Coach Gary Smith today? Is he will continue our learning session on Entrepreneurial Leadership series, of which we started like 5 weeks ago. So, we are now on season 4, episode 5, and let's hear it from the master himself to discuss what leaders' basic needs are. So, with us, let's welcome once again our coach, Coach Gary Smith. How are you, Gary?
I am very well. Good evening to you in Asia, Jonathan, from here in the United States, where it's 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. And welcome to all of our students. It's great to have everyone with us today, and I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Correct. So right now we have a lot of students coming from the Middle East because I told them to listen carefully, right? I mean, for the past 4 episodes that they haven't watched us or heard us, then they can always go back to our link at coachjonathan.net/YouTube, or they can always check Champion Ka on Facebook. Together with us watching from United Arab Emirates is Mr. Rayan. Good morning and good afternoon, Coach and Gary. Stick with us, Rayan, so you'll learn more about Coach Gary's topic for today, which is about leadership basic needs. There you go.
Very good. So let's jump right into this. Do a quick review of sessions or episodes 1 through 4. We've talked about the entrepreneurial mindset. We've talked about the power of choice and understanding, discovering, and acting on our beliefs. We've talked about finding your purpose. And then last week, we talked about filling the gaps between where we are and where we want to become. And sometimes that is dealing with new skills that we need to acquire. And other times it's changing ourselves to become the people that we need to be in order to be able to achieve. And in today's session, I want to do 2 things. Actually, I want to talk about the whole idea of entrepreneurial needs, and then I want to take just a few minutes and I want to tie together everything from sessions 1 through session 5 into a model that I think will help make sense for you. So, Jonathan, if you'll go ahead and put up that slide again, let's talk about entrepreneurial needs. Because one of the things that I think people struggle with is, especially if you are, say, an employee of a company now, but you're thinking about developing your own business, how do you go about approaching that? And how do you meet the current set of needs that you have? And what are those needs? And how do those needs influence the things that are going on in your life? A number of years ago, I was on a local radio show, and was actually talking with the host about one of my books. And we were taking some call-ins, and one of the questions that we got from a caller was, here was a young man who was a He was an engineer working for another company, but he really wanted to start his own business. And he was young, he was married, he had a couple of small kids at home, and his question was, should I just go ahead and pull the plug and jump into having my own business? And I told him, I said, unless you're in a situation where you have an instant customer base that's available to you, that's not a wise move, because you need to have finances behind you in order to be able to make things happen. And a lot of times I think people, when they're starting businesses, will look at things from the perspective of, well, I'm very positive about things. I can get out there, I can develop a client base, I can make things happen very, very quickly. And most of the time that doesn't happen. I always tell people that if you are going to quit your current job and start another business, start a business on your own, you really need to have somewhere between 2 and 3 years of finances behind you in order to be able to make that happen. And so what I suggested to this young man was, well, why don't you start something on a part-time basis? Go out, start your business and work it part-time and see how it goes. See how quickly you can develop a client base and how much income you can really generate from your business, and then let that be the guide for if and when you decide to pull the plug and on your current employment and go full time. But that's something we need to be sensitive about, because as entrepreneurs, our existing lives still go on, right? And so we need to be aware of things. And so today I want to talk about 4 key areas of our basic needs. And the first one, which is represented in the center circle here, is money. We all have a need to make and spend money. And that's, for most of us, why we originally started our careers. We need to be able to to provide for ourselves, to provide for our families. And we start out, when we initially start out, we do so to fulfill our basic needs. We need to have transportation. We need to have a roof over our head. We need to have clothes on our backs. We need to have food on the table. And then as we grow in our careers or in our entrepreneurial endeavors, and as we make more money, we get to a point where now we are moving beyond the basic needs and we're starting to look at the area of desires. So maybe the desires that we have are to get rid of a 10-year-old car and buy something that's a little bit better. Maybe we move from an apartment into a condo or into our first home. Maybe we upgrade the clothes that we wear. Maybe we start setting money aside for retirement or taking vacation, or if we have young families, we begin saving money for their education. And so, the needs that we have and the way we express those needs with money continue to change as we progress in our careers and as our revenue increases, as we're able to make more money. The second area is in the area of achievement. I think that all of us are wired, if you will, with the need to achieve something in life. And that's part of what we talked about in the whole concept of purpose, is what is it that you really want to achieve in life? And whether we decide to activate that or not is up to us. But what is it that we really want to achieve? Do we have a lot of ambitions for what we want to accomplish, or are our achievement goals fairly small? And then the third area is in relationships. We were born to be relational people, to live in community with one another. But what we have to do is look at it and say, okay, what do relationships really mean to me? And that is, do I want to have? Am I the type of person who has all kinds of acquaintances? Or am I the type of person who just has a few close friends? So what do relationships really mean to me? And then finally, we want to talk about what I call transcendent needs, which are spiritual needs. And there again, it can be something from, I don't have any spiritual needs at all that I recognize, to someone like me or like Coach Jonathan, where our spiritual lives are really foundational to everything that we do. But here's the question that I think we need to deal with in each one of these areas. When we think about money, how much money is enough? Are you the type of person who's perfectly okay with living like a Mother Teresa? Or do you need to be the next Jeff Bezos of the world, where you've got billions and billions of dollars in wealth? And the same thing with achievement. How much do you really want to achieve in your life? In your relationships, what's important to you in the relationships that you have with other people? Are you the type of person, like I said before, where you just really have your own core group of people, your family, and maybe a few close friends? Or are you a very influential, impactful person who has relationships and acquaintances all over the world that you want to maintain? And again, looking at the transcendent needs, your spiritual needs, how much do the spiritual needs play into your purpose and your plan for your life? And what we find is that the belief system that we have is what really drives what those needs are and how great those needs are. And so that becomes a real part of how we think and how we deal with our lives and with our entrepreneurial journey. And Coach, if you can go ahead and put up the next slide, I'll try and tie this thing together into something that makes sense for everybody. So up on the top of the slide here, you can see a discussion that we had from session 2, which is how we have beliefs, and the beliefs drive the creation of rules, if-then statements. It says, based on what I believe, if I encounter a particular situation, this is how I will deal with it. This is how I will respond or react. And those rules drive choices, which cause us to take action. Those actions produce results, and those results have an impact. And then we also talked about the power of purpose, finding your purpose. That was session 3, where we looked at how do we go about. I gave you an exercise for finding purpose and looking at the intersection of your passions and your skills and where you can add value. And we talked about the law of awareness, that we really need to understand ourselves. We need to know ourselves before we can grow ourselves. And we also talked about the law of intentionality, where the development of ourselves and our journey toward our purpose is really our responsibility. It's not up to anyone else. It's up to us to be able to do that. And I've thrown another little thing here into the model, and that is a picture of a human brain. Excuse me. And there are 2 critical factors of the human brain. There's a part of the brain called the neocortex. And what the neocortex does is it is sort of our analytical system, if you will. So let's imagine that you were going out to buy an automobile. You're going to buy a car. Your neocortex part of your brain is the one that looks at it and says, well, what size engine does it have? What kind of electronics? Does it have a GPS? Does it have a nice radio system? What kind of engine does it have? How much horsepower does it have? Those sorts of things. But then there's another part of your brain that's called the limbic system. And in your limbic brain is looking at it and saying, yeah, I understand all that stuff about the technical stuff of the car, but it's red and it's pretty and I want to have it. And the real key there is to understand, especially as an entrepreneur, when you have defined your purpose, and your purpose is the foundation for the things that you're trying to achieve in life, what happens is that you attract to yourself people whose limbic system resonates with your purpose. There's an old saying that people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. Well, how do we develop that trust? We develop the trust through resonating with the purpose of other people. And that's what really drives things. And then today we talked about, on the right-hand side of the model, that we have these basic needs that have to be met, but those needs are driven by our belief system. And what we really want to be very careful about here is that there needs to be a congruence between our beliefs, our purpose, and how we are approaching our needs. And we need to be able to adjust those things, because if something is out of sync there, it's going to either completely kill our ability to achieve our purpose, or at the very least, it's going to hamper our ability to move forward. So, as a very simple example, if I have if I have a purpose that says I want to earn a lot of money so that I can be philanthropic, I can give that money away, I can use it to bless other people, but my belief system is one that says that money is the root of all evil. What are the chances that I'm going to be able to effectively achieve my purpose? Because what's happening is that I've created a conflict within myself where I'm actually bumping heads with myself inside of myself, and it hampers my ability to achieve things. So understanding all of those things and adjusting our purpose and our belief system and mitigating some of our needs is important for us to look at ourselves holistically and say, this is what my life is going to be about. This is my purpose. This is how my needs affect my purpose. This is how my belief system impacts my purpose, and keeping everything in balance. And so if we can go on to the last slide there, Jonathan, I think it sort of ties everything together, because what happens is that our successful lives are at the intersection of these three things. It's at the intersection of our purpose, our belief, and our needs. And when those three things are in harmony, we're able to build and maintain a successful life for ourselves. And not only that, but we're able to teach others to do the same thing so that they can live influential, impactful lives. And that's where it really all comes together as far as I'm concerned. So, Jonathan, why don't you pipe in here with your thoughts and see if we have any questions from our students?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, we have here Roy Diaz. Thank you so much, Roy, for watching all the way again from Pasig City, Iloilo City. That's the Visayan part of the Philippines, Gary. Now, you know what's interesting here is what you talked about, Gary, about these three things. Maybe we can discuss about this, and in a little while, I'll be calling on one of our guests today to share, this is leadership impact, and sharing with us his purpose, why he's doing what he's doing. Now, what's the big difference here, Gary, of or the relationship between um, purpose and belief? Because interestingly, you mentioned about if your purpose meets what you believe, and what you believe has something to do with your needs. Can we expound more on that? Then that would be your successful life. Like for instance, for people in business, Gary, um, their purpose is to really be in business. Is it to make money? Is that what you're saying, Gary?
Yeah, in some respects. I mean, if your purpose, I think what we have to do is look at purpose, and because our purpose is an expression of who we are and what's important to us in life, and what drives that purpose. Well, our core beliefs, our core values drive that purpose. Now, some people get into business from the standpoint that they want to make money, and I'm not saying money is a bad thing. We all need money.
Correct.
Money is a great tool, but what is the focus of our belief system? So, as an example, a number of years ago, I was consulting with a company, and I was talking with the CEO of this organization, and all he would talk about is, we need to make money, we need to make money, we need to make money. And I looked at him and said, "Can I make a suggestion to you?" And he said, "What's that?" And I said, "If you want to start, if you want to make money, stop talking about and stop pushing to make money." And he said, "Well,
Mm,
if I do that, I won't make any money." And I said, "No, no, you need to alter your belief system and your approach here. Your
yeah.
goal is not to make money. Your goal is to add value. And when
Mm,
you are adding value to the marketplace, when you're out there and you understand what your customers need and you are supplying that need, the money will be there as a byproduct of the value that you add." And so those are the things that we need to be aware of, and that's the balance point that we want to find, in the way we do business, is that rather than looking at just making money, look at what we do and the value that we add and how we can be compensated for that.
correct. Or if I may realign it for those of us watching who are in business, the purpose of your business is because I want to use this powerful framework to all those watching us right now that for you to fulfill your business, or the purpose of your business is to address a need, right? I mean, the purpose is not to make money, but to address a specific need. And you have to believe that your product or service will really address the need. Because right now, Gary, just share with you, one of the things that has challenged a lot of, let's say, salespeople right now is, they're not making sales simply because there are no buyers, right? But if you will change your belief, that's what Gary taught us. You believe that there is someone looking for your product or your service, and that your purpose is to address the need of that someone looking for your product and service. I think you will reach this successful life, something like that.
I,
That's how
I
I can rephrase it.
Yeah, I think you're right on target there, Jonathan, and especially in the area of sales. Like, some of your
Correct.
students that we've had on are in real estate sales and things like that. And I think one of the things there that comes into play as far as our belief system and our purpose is that much of the time we focus on the techniques of selling,
Correct. Correct.
but we fail to realize that one of the greatest gifts that we can give to our clients is ourselves.
Correct.
And when we add, and that's how we add value beyond what others are capable of doing. So many salespeople are out there, and all they're trying to do is use these different opening and processing and closing techniques in order to be able to complete the sale, rather than offering themselves in relationship with their customers, building that relationship with them, adding value to that relationship, and thereby establishing the trust that allows people to
Correct.
open up and do business with you.
Correct. Or starting it with the right belief, because a lot of salespeople, or some of them, believes that it's hard to sell these days. Then it will just go back to you, that you will not get clients for that matter. But if you believe that you have a product, or that you have a service that people are looking for, because it will address a need, and then as you do that, you're finding your purpose of really become a problem solver, as you mentioned about adding value to them. I think as you do that, the right opportunity, the right people, the right deal will come. Just don't stop. And yeah, because we know, this is high time for us. I mean, it's crunch time, as I always say it, right? And to share this with us, we have invited a very special, as we end our session today. We have invited one of our students of the Global Academy. Let's welcome Mr. Lloyd C. Lloyd,
Coach.
there.
Hi,
Yeah,
Gary.
can you meet us? Yeah, Gary, meet with Lloyd.
Lloyd,
Hi,
very
Gary.
nice to meet you today.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Gary. So, okay,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, regarding
Any
the
any any thoughts? Any thoughts, Lloyd, of what Coach Gary taught us this morning or today?
the most important thing that I have, the snap in my mind right now is the customer service.
Mm,
Um, the last part that Sir Gary teach us, especially for our business here in the
yeah,
Philippines, we have a lot of salesperson. How can
yeah,
you have an advantage to those sellers, right? So number one, how to be a good salesperson with a good customer service, so that you can gain a referral or as a marketing partner. So
so
yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Gary, would you like to answer that? What advice can you give, these people or students?
There's a great example that I can give you, Lloyd, there, because A number of years ago, I had the opportunity to take a negotiating course with a fellow named Roger Dawson, and he's one of the best real estate negotiators in the world. And he said that so much of the time when we are in a sales situation, we don't take the time to understand what the other person really needs or what it is that they want. And he said, whenever you're in a situation where you're dealing with a client, whether it's in a sales situation or whether you're negotiating with someone, he said, imagine yourself having an out of body experience where you actually get out of your chair and walk around to the other side of the table and sit beside that person and take the time to find out what it is that they need
Mm.
and help them get it. If you do that, you begin to build that relationship because, as I said earlier in our session today, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Well, how do you build? It starts with trust. How do you build that trust with people? It starts by being a person, by being interested in them, not only professionally but who they are as people. And when you begin to talk with them, not only can you identify what it is that they're looking for from the transaction, but you can also get an idea from getting to know them, who they are, who's their husband, who's their wife, what about their children, and things like that. You can begin to get a sense of what's important to them in life, and that may help you be creative in solving their problem and adding value to that transaction.
And to add to what Gary mentioned, Lloyd, it's more of really believing that whatever particular product or service you are offering, the purpose is to address a need, really to
That's
address the
right.
need, and believe that your product and service will really address a need. Because I believe there are really, the goal right now is not just to sell, but to really look for people looking for us. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays, like for instance, do you think it's high time that you sell, let's say, a luxury car, let's say whether in the US or anywhere in the world? Do you think it's the right time? Well, if you believe that it's not the right time to sell, then you will really generate sales, right? But if you think that there are people, if you believe that there are people looking for luxury cars now, that it's the right time for them. I mean, this pandemic, this is the right time for them to secure one. Then I think you will address that need, and these people will be looking for you. Same is true with, let's say, real estate selling or any expensive products or services that you offer. Just imagine, um, there's still a threat of the pandemic, right? But still, when I was coaching an airline company, still they were able to sell uh, airfares, and to my surprise, they were even selling a business in a first class, Gary and Lloyd. Just imagine that, because they know that they're addressing a particular need, and their purpose is, once the client is there, the prospect is there, they're there to really serve them. They're really there to really address and meet, beyond the expectation of their clients.
Yes,
Lloyd?
absolutely, absolutely. And that's where, adding value, understanding what it is that your client needs, understanding who
Correct.
they are, understanding how they think, and be able to approach them so that you're helping to solve a problem for them in the product or service that you offer. That becomes very, very critical.
Correct. Lloyd, would you like to share, let's say, what you're doing now with SMDC in terms of really your product addressing a particular need? Maybe that's something that we can align, so that we can somehow align your belief, and see, look at your purpose, and your purpose is to address that need.
Thank you very much for your no no so for Sir Gary and Coach Jonathan for tips in terms of mindset. No, so for your question, Sir Jonathan, for me is addressing the financial knowledge
Correct.
for
Correct.
my co-Filipino the Filipino people,
Correct.
especially buying real estate. Okay, so
Yeah.
because for especially here in the Philippines, we're not that educated in terms of financial. So I think
Yeah.
that's the one aspect that I need to find to teach the people, or as a property investment consultant, so that when they retire, they have a passive income, because there's a lot of
Yes.
people right now, the older ones, after they retire, their business goes down. After they retire to their work, they're just gonna ask with, with uh, children that for some money, which is as a human, right, as a human being, it's a no-no, right? That
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you retire, your active income will go down, right? So that
Correct.
you need to have a passive income. So I think that's
Correct.
the area that I'm focusing right now in terms of my clients, to have
Correct.
a passive
Yeah.
income in their future, to have their retirement.
Correct. And you hit the nail on the head, Lloyd. If you will change your purpose, no, your purpose is not to sell rather than educate, right, Coach Gary? I mean, the purpose
Right
now
word,
is
yeah,
not to sell
educate.
but to educate not just Filipinos, but educate them that, let's say, real estate is one of the best, investments that they can ever do, whether they are outside the Philippines or by the time they retire. So you're now changing your purpose. So you have to connect that now, believing that when someone is educated, no, that let's say real estate as your product is one of their options, then I think your purpose now to educate, you will now drive a demand, create a demand from people who would like to learn more about that. So you are now addressing a need, because for me, I think there are more people needing education rather than more people who has a need right now to immediately buy a house. Does that make sense, Gary? I mean, I'm just following the framework, so at
Yeah.
least, yeah, our audience and students can follow.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right on target there, Jonathan. And it's interesting because we really have to focus on what the core purpose is.
Yes.
As you were talking, I remember there was a friend of mine who worked for McDonald's, the hamburger chain. He worked in corporate McDonald's, and he said a lot of times people will come to me and say, "Well, you guys are in the hamburger business," and he said, "No."
Mhm.
We're not in the hamburger business. He said, we do sell hamburgers, but he said, we're not in the hamburger business. He said, we're in the real estate business. He said,
Correct.
if you look at all of the locations of McDonald's around the world, where are they? They're all in prime locations. And he said, so we're really in the real estate business. So
Correct.
that gets back to you, Lloyd, and saying, what business are you really in? You're not in real estate sales or real estate investing.
Correct.
You're in customer education and
Correct.
information, and giving them the information that they need and helping them to modify their belief system about where they should be investing, why they should
Correct.
be investing, and what amount of risk are they willing to take in the investments that they're making. That's really the business that you're in.
And to add to that, Gary, since most of the prospects of Lloyd, selling an SMDC project, which is one of the prime developers here in the Philippines, is to really, tap the global Filipino market. The data says that Filipinos are looking for business opportunities. So if there's a way that you can tweak your education purpose on telling them that this is one of the best opportunity for them to start a business, then I think, all else follows. I believe all
Hmm.
else follows for that. Lloyd.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes, Coach, Coach Gary and Coach Jonathan. I think that's the main perspective, or the main focus that I'm focusing right now, is to
Correct.
educate. That's it. Because
Yes.
that's the most important thing right now, especially with our the pandemic situation here in the Philippines. There's a lot of Filipino doesn't have work, and of course, that's the good thing if you have a property as a passive income. For example, I have a rental business with my one
Correct.
unit
Correct.
in TAF area, which is a school area, and it's a
Correct.
passive income right now, which is helping my cash flow.
Very good.
Yeah.
So it's more of really using the framework, right, Lloyd, and
Yes, yes.
addressing the need, right? I mean, that's why our main purpose, really, as what Gary taught us today, is it's really a change of belief. I think change of
Mm.
belief, realigning of purpose, and really adding value to meet the needs, and then you will have this spot here wherein you will really see yourself as successful as possible. Make sense, Lloyd? Yeah, you're on mute. You're on mute, Lloyd. You're on mute.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's the right perspective and the right mindset, I think. And
Correct.
of course, the prayers
Of
to hit
course,
that
all the
goal.
time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Lloyd, thank you for your time.
Thank you
And we
very
hope
much,
to
Coach.
see you
Thank you,
again. Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Yeah, we hope to see you again. And yeah, just keep on believing.
Yeah.
And again, our purpose is to really educate so it meets the needs of our audiences. Thank you so much, Lloyd. We'll see you again in
Thank you, sir.
class.
Take
Thank you,
care,
Coach.
Lloyd.
Mr. Gary.
Wow. Gary, yeah, before we end, let's answer this question. Interestingly, we have Sir Roy Diaz. No? I'll read the question for you, Gary. Thank you, Gary, for this series of lectures. Hope I can share this series of lectures to LGU, or the local government unit of Pasig City in Iloilo, to our OFWs and their families for their reintegration program in farming and other livelihood programs for their passive incomes, being me as part of our City Economic and Investment Promotions Office. Thank you so much, Sir Roy. Maraming salamat.
Excellent,
Right?
excellent. Yeah, and that's the whole idea behind what we're doing is share it with the world,
Correct.
because there's some powerful concepts here, and people. It's almost like going to a restaurant and you have a menu. You can look at it and see what areas of your life you need to work on, and you can select those things and go to
Correct.
work on them.
Correct. So that's it, Gary. Thank you so much again for your time. It was a great learning experience for all of us. And to all our students watching, please watch the past 4 episodes. So this is episode 5. And we have 3 more episodes left to complete the whole Entrepreneurial Leadership series. So again, you have watched Champion Ka. This is Coach Jonathan with Coach Gary. Continuously, we will build leaders.
And we will lead builders.
God bless you and see you in class.
We are the Global Academy, your training hub for entrepreneurship and business leadership. Headquartered in New Zealand, we have satellite offices in Melbourne, New York, Dubai, and Manila. The Global Academy New Zealand offers strategic master classes with our 4M proven framework that transforms mindset, develops mastery, strengthens management, and mentorship programs to sustain your organization competitive advantage. We are the Global Academy New Zealand, building leaders, leading builders. See you in class.
Welcome to the Academy, your training hub for entrepreneurship in this new digital economy. People from all walks of life, students, professionals, and online entrepreneurs, direct sellers, online dropshippers are now looking for innovative ways and means to maximize the power of this new digital economy and learn from home and earn from home as well. Remember that there are 3 critical success factors for you to be successful in this new digital economy. Number 1 is your entrepreneurial mindset. Number 2, your entrepreneurial mastery. And number 3 is your entrepreneurial management. 3 questions that you have to ask yourself. What are you passionate about? Number 2, what are the relative skills that you have in this new economy? And number 3, what do you think are the expectations of your partners or your clients or your customers? We at the Academy offer you valuable masterclass courses that will develop you and hone you to become a champion entrepreneur online. We want you to become a digital brand in this new economy. So click the link below and learn more about the 4 masterclass courses that we offer in entrepreneurship, in entrepreneurial management, digital entrepreneurship, and digital selling. So again, I'm your coach, Jonathan Petalver of The Academy, your training hub for entrepreneurship in this new digital economy. Welcome and see you in class.